All right, welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. You guys sent in some fascinating excerpts about David Goggins.
Oh, yeah.
This guy is pretty intense.
Yeah, his approach to self-improvement is really something else.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Definitely not your typical feel-good stuff.
No, no bubble baths here.
He's all about pushing yourself to the absolute limit, both mentally and physically.
And it all starts with this idea of, like, brutal self-honesty.
Yeah, he's big on calling yourself out.
No more excuses.
No more blaming your circumstances, your genetics, anything but yourself.
He's like, instead of saying, I don't have time to work out,
Right.
you should say, I'm choosing not to make time.
It's about taking responsibility for your choices.
Yeah, it's kind of like a slap in the face.
It's a powerful shift in perspective, for sure.
Makes you think.
Once you acknowledge those choices, you take back control.
Yeah.
You realize you're not a victim of your circumstances.
Right.
You're the architect of your own life.
Okay, so no more excuses.
Right.
We're taking ownership.
Absolutely.
Then he goes on to talk about this concept of callousing the mind.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
I'm really fascinated by this idea.
It's about intentionally exposing yourself to challenges, pushing past those initial feelings of resistance.
So every time you avoid discomfort,
You're letting that mental muscle atrophy.
it's like if you never lift weights, your muscles are going to get weaker.
Exactly.
Same thing with your mind.
You need to challenge it to make it stronger.
So is there any science behind this, or is this just Goggins being Goggins?
Well, actually, there's a growing body of research on the benefits of stress and discomfort.
Really?
Like Kelly McGonigle's work on stress suggests that our perception of stress has a huge impact on how our bodies respond to it.
Oh, interesting.
If we view stress as a challenge rather than a threat, it can actually enhance our performance and well-being.
That makes sense.
So it's not about avoiding stress altogether.
Right.
It's about changing how we relate to it.
So if you're constantly avoiding any kind of discomfort,
Yeah,
you never get the chance to develop those coping mechanisms at inner strength.
exactly. And that connects directly to Goggins' beliefs that we're all operating at only 40% of our true capacity.
40%.
He calls it the 40% rule.
What? Hold on, you're telling me I got another 60% just sitting there?
He argues that when we feel like giving up and we hit that wall, we've still got a huge reserve of untapped potential.
I got to know more about this 40% rule.
Well, there's a lot of fascinating research on this idea of perceived effort
Okay.
and how our brains often limit us. Studies have shown that our mental perception of fatigue plays a huge role in our physical performance.
So our brains are basically like, nope, that's enough time to chill.
Essentially, yes, our brains are wired for survival.
Right.
So they naturally try to conserve energy and protect us from discomfort.
Makes sense.
But as Goggins demonstrates, those survival mechanisms can also hold us back from achieving our full potential.
Okay, so we've got callousing the mind, pushing past that 40%.
Right.
This is all starting to make sense.
Good.
But how do you actually put this into practice?
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like in everyday life?
Well, Goggins talks about this mantra, stay hard,
Stay hard?
which might sound intimidating.
A little bit, yeah.
But it's really about cultivating that inner drive to keep going even when things get tough.
He seems to view any kind of pain or discomfort as a chance to get stronger.
He does.
Almost like a twisted kind of opportunity.
It's not about seeking out suffering for the sake of it,
Okay.
but rather seeing the value in pushing beyond your comfort zone.
Right.
He argues that the more you embrace those challenges,
Yeah.
the more resilient you become.
It's about building that inner fortitude.
Yes.
To weather any storm.
Exactly.
It sounds intense, but I can see how it would be incredibly empowering, too.
It is.
This idea of knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you.
It's about building that unshakable confidence in yourself.
Okay, so he doesn't just talk the talk.
No, he definitely walks the walk.
I mean, the guy ran 100 miles in under 20 hours with broken bones in his feet.
Yeah, that's one of his more extreme examples.
100 miles with broken bones.
It's pretty incredible.
That's next level.
It is.
You can barely make it to the gym some days.
Well, the takeaway isn't necessarily to replicate Goggins' feats.
Right.
It's about understanding that we all have this incredible capacity for resilience,
Yeah.
for pushing beyond what we think is possible.
Okay, so we're calling ourselves out, callousing our minds, and embracing the stay hard mantra.
So far, so good.
What else is in this Goggins toolbox?
Well, he has this really interesting practice he calls the accountability mirror.
The accountability mirror.
It's basically about using a mirror for brutal self-assessment.
So like looking in the mirror and being like, you're a mess.
Well, he talks about looking in the mirror and calling himself out on all his excuses, his weaknesses, his areas for improvement.
It's like having your own personal drill sergeant staring back at you.
Kind of, yeah.
Is that something you actually recommend people do?
It might sound a little intense, but it goes back to that idea of radical self-honesty.
Okay.
Goggins believes that we often avoid looking too closely at our flaws.
Yeah, we don't like to see our own shortcomings.
And the mirror forces you to confront those uncomfortable truths.
I could see how that would be powerful, but also a little scary.
It can be both, for sure.
What kind of things would you actually say to yourself in that mirror?
Well, Goggins uses some pretty strong language in his examples.
Okay.
He talks about looking in the mirror and saying things like, I'm overweight because I eat like crap and don't work out.
Wow. No sugarcoating.
No excuses.
Straight to the point.
It's about stripping away those layers of self-deception and getting to the core of the issue.
That's intense.
It is.
But I guess if you're really committed to change,
Yeah.
sometimes you need that kind of brutal honesty to shake things up.
Absolutely. It's not about beating yourself up,
Okay.
but about using that self-awareness as a catalyst for growth.
So no more hiding for the truth.
Right.
We're facing it head on in the accountability mirror.
Exactly. It's about becoming your own toughest critic,
Right.
but also your biggest champion.
Wow, this Goggins guy is really something else.
He is a unique individual.
I'm feeling inspired, but also slightly terrified all at the same time.
That's understandable. His approach is definitely not for everyone.
Yeah,
But even if you don't agree with everything he says,
right.
I think there's a lot we can all learn from his mindset and his unwavering commitment to pushing beyond his limits.
Definitely, and this is just scratching the surface.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much more to unpack here.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back to continue our deep dive into the world of David Goggins. Stay with us. Okay, so we're back.
Back again.
And, it's funny how his approach is like almost the opposite
Yeah.
of a lot of the self-help stuff
Totally different.
out there these days.
Yeah, it's a real counter-narrative to the whole,
Yeah.
self-care movement.
Everyone's talking about bubble baths and being kind to yourself.
Yeah, be gentle with yourself.
And he's like, embrace the suck.
yeah, push harder.
Right? Like, all that coddling is making us soft.
Yeah, I think he would say that we've become too averse to discomfort.
Yeah, we've lost that grit
Exactly.
and resilience.
He's trying to wake us up.
Shake things up a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's not just some armchair philosopher.
Oh, no, not at
Like,
all.
he's lived it.
He's the real deal.
I mean, overcoming poverty, abuse, obesity,
Yeah.
to become a Navy SEAL and ultra-marathoner.
It's incredible.
Like, that gives his message
Uh-huh.
realness.
Yeah, authenticity.
You can't ignore it.
Yeah, you can't deny his experience.
Okay, but let's be real.
Yeah,
Not everyone's going to run 100 miles with broken bones.
of course not.
So how can, the average person
Right.
actually apply these principles
Yeah, good question.
in a way that's, sustainable?
Sustainable, right.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to break my bones
No.
to prove a point.
It's about finding what staying hard means for you.
Okay,
It's not about going hard from zero to hero overnight.
right.
Goggins himself talks about the importance of starting small
Okay.
and building momentum.
So baby steps.
Exactly. Find that one area where you want to improve.
Yeah.
Whether it's fitness, work, relationships, and start incorporating those Goggins principles gradually.
So maybe instead of aiming for a marathon,
Right.
I start by committing to a 30-minute walk every day.
Exactly. It could be something as simple as that.
Okay.
The key is consistency.
And he talks about building that mental callus over time, right?
Yes, that's crucial.
So it's not about making one grand gesture.
Right.
It's those small, consistent efforts that really add up.
Exactly. And that's where the accountability mirror can be a helpful tool.
Right, the mirror.
It's not just about checking your appearance.
Yeah.
It's about having that honest conversation with yourself.
Uh-huh.
Am I really giving it my all? Am I making excuses?
Is I actually doing the work?
Exactly.
It's like that inner dialogue
Yes.
is where the real battle is fought.
He would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
He believes that our minds are the ultimate battleground.
Another thing that really struck me about his philosophy
Yeah.
is this emphasis on self-reliance.
Oh, absolutely.
Like he really pushes that
He
idea
does.
of becoming your own source of motivation
Yeah.
instead of looking to others for validation.
That's huge.
It is.
Especially in today's world where we're so focused on external validation.
Social media likes and all that.
Exactly.
So how do we cultivate that inner drive?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Like how do we become our own
Right.
best cheerleader, so to speak?
He talks about the importance of identifying your why.
Your why.
What truly motivates you deep down?
Okay.
What are your core values?
So what are you actually fighting for?
Exactly. Once you have a clear sense of purpose,
Yeah.
it becomes easier to stay focused and driven even when things get tough.
It's like once you know what you're fighting for,
Right.
you're more willing to endure those tough battles.
You're not fighting for someone else's approval.
Right.
You're fighting for something that truly matters to you.
And he also talks about developing a growth mindset, right?
Yes, that's essential.
Seeing challenges as opportunities for learning and growth.
Exactly. Instead of seeing them as setbacks or failures.
So instead of saying, I can't do this,
Right.
you say, I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it.
That's the spirit.
It's about embracing the journey, the ups and downs.
Yeah, the whole process.
Knowing that each step, even the missteps,
Uh-huh.
brings you closer to your goal.
You learn from every experience.
And Goggins seems to believe there's value
He does.
in those struggles.
Yes.
Those moments of discomfort.
He sees them as opportunities for growth.
It's like that's where the real growth happens.
He would definitely say that.
Yeah, you got to get
You
uncomfortable.
have to push beyond your comfort zone. If you're always comfortable,
Yeah.
you're not really challenging yourself.
Okay, so we're finding our why embracing this struggle.
So far, so good.
Building that mental toughness.
Yes.
But what about those voices in our head
Oh, yes, the inner critic.
that tell us to quit, to stay comfortable?
Right, that voice that says, it's too hard,
Just give up.
you're not good enough.
Goggins seems to have a pretty strong opinion on those.
He calls it the weak voice.
The weak voice.
And believes it's the enemy of progress.
So we got to shut that voice down.
He's very direct about the need to silence that voice, to confront those limiting beliefs head on.
And that's where the accountability mirror comes back into play, right?
It can be a helpful tool for that.
Yeah, it's not just about physical appearance.
Right.
It's about facing those inner demons.
Exactly, those doubts and fears that hold us back.
So it's about building that mental toughness and resilience
Absolutely.
to push through those negative thoughts and emotion.
It's like training your mind
Yeah.
to focus on the positive.
He also talks about the importance of self-awareness, right?
Yes, that's key.
Knowing your triggers,
Uh-huh.
your weaknesses,
Your patterns of behavior.
right? Like what sets you off and what makes you want to quit.
Exactly, because once you understand those things,
Yeah.
you can start to make conscious choices that align with your goals.
So it's not just about pushing harder.
Right.
It's about being smarter about how you approach those challenges.
Exactly. It's about strategy.
Having a plan.
It's having a toolbox of strategies for dealing with setbacks and failures.
Because let's be honest, everyone fails sometimes.
Everyone fails.
Right? It's part of the process.
It's how you respond to those failures
Yeah.
that determines your ultimate success.
And Goggins is all about using failures as learning opportunities.
Yes. He sees them as fuel.
Like, okay, I messed up.
Right.
What can I learn from this?
How can I do better next time?
It's that relentless pursuit of improvement.
Exactly. He's never satisfied.
Always pushing forward.
Always striving for more.
And I think that's something we can all aspire to.
It is a great mindset to have.
We may not all be Navy SEALs or ultramarathon runners,
Of course.
but we can all strive to be the best versions of ourselves.
Absolutely. And that's what matters most.
And it's not about comparing yourself to Goggins or anyone else.
Right.
It's about finding what works for you.
Yeah, what motivates you, what inspires you.
To push beyond your own limits.
Exactly. You have your own unique journey.
It's about embracing the challenge,
Yes.
the discomfort, the pain even,
Yeah, he would say that's where the real growth happens.
because it's through those experiences that
Yeah.
we truly grow and become strong.
Come out the other side transformed.
And that's what Goggins is trying to teach us.
I think so.
It's not about being perfect
Right.
or having it all figured out.
It's about the journey.
It's about embracing the challenge, pushing your limits,
Absolutely.
and never giving up on yourself.
And believing in yourself.
It's about taking that first step
Yes.
and then another,
and
another.
Keep moving forward.
And who knows, maybe one day you'll be running 100 miles with broken bones too.
Maybe. We don't recommend that.
You don't have to go that far.
No.
But the point is,
Yeah.
you're capable of more than you think,
Absolutely.
and with the right mindset
Yeah.
and a willingness to embrace discomfort,
Yes.
you can achieve incredible things.
You have the power within you.
And remember, this is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
There will be ups and downs, successes and failures.
That's life.
But as long as you keep moving forward,
Yes.
keep pushing yourself,
Keep learning, keep growing.
you're on the right track.
Exactly.
And that's what makes life so exciting, isn't it?
It is.
The possibility of growth, the potential for greatness
Absolutely.
that lies within each of us.
We all have that potential.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground here today,
We have.
but there's still so much more
Oh, yeah.
to explore in Goggins' world.
Definitely.
We'll be back in just a moment to wrap things up
Okay.
and leave you with some final thoughts to ponder. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're back for the last part of our
Yeah.
deep dive
Deep
into
dive.
David Goggins. And,
Yeah.
I think one of the things that he really challenges is this idea of like limitations.
Totally.
Most self-improvement advice is like,
Yeah.
work within your boundaries.
Right. Find your limits.
Yeah, and he's basically saying,
Yeah.
those boundaries are mostly mental constructs.
Yeah, they're self-imposed.
He's free from them.
Yeah. Shatter those limitations.
It's like, stop selling yourself short.
Yeah. You're capable of so much more.
Yeah, you have way more potential than you realize.
Mhm.
And I think another thing that's
Yeah.
really resonating with me is like his emphasis on action.
Oh, yeah. He's all about action.
He doesn't just talk about like
Right.
positive thinking
No.
or goal setting.
It's about doing the work.
He's about getting out there and
Yeah.
doing the work,
Taking action.
even when it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And he's all about cutting through like
Mm-hmm.
the procrastination and excuses. We
Yeah.
often get stuck in that cycle of like
Right.
planning and preparing
Planning and prepare.
and never actually take the leap.
Yeah. Analysis paralysis.
And he wants us to break free
Just do it.
from that inertia.
Yeah. Take that first step.
Yeah, stop thinking about it and just go do it.
Exactly.
I think we're all guilty of that.
Oh, yeah, we've all been there.
Sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
Talking a big game, but
Yeah.
not actually following through.
It's easy to talk about it.
And he's saying, building that mental toughness,
Yeah.
that callous on the mind, is about
A practice.
creating a habit of action.
Yeah, you have to train yourself.
Consistently showing up,
Even when you don't feel like it.
even when you don't feel like it, and pushing yourself
Right.
a little further each time.
It's about those small, consistent efforts.
It's those small daily victories
Yeah,
that add up over time.
absolutely.
It's about consistency.
Consistent.
Discipline is key, and that's where the real growth happens.
Yeah, that's where the magic happens.
And you develop the resilience to overcome any challenge.
You become unstoppable.
Taking a step back from all this, it seems like
Yeah.
his philosophy is about
Mm-hmm.
so much more than just
Yeah.
achieving external goals.
It's an internal transformation.
It's about developing a mindset
Yeah, a way of being in the world.
that allows you to face any obstacle
Yeah.
with courage and determination.
It's about empowerment.
It's about becoming the best version of yourself.
Yeah,
Not for anyone else, but for you.
absolutely.
It's about living a life
Yeah.
of purpose and intention.
It's about being intentional with your choices.
It's about pushing your limits
Yeah.
and discovering
Yeah.
what you're truly capable of.
That's the ultimate goal.
And it's about embracing the whole
The
journey.
whole thing.
The good, the bad,
Yeah, the ups and downs.
the messy, the triumphant.
It's all part of it.
Because all of that is part of the growth process.
You can't have the good without the bad.
So I guess as we wrap up
Yeah.
this deep dive, I think the biggest takeaway is this.
Mm-hmm.
Stop making excuses.
Yeah. No more excuse.
Stop letting fear hold you back.
Face your fears.
Get out there and start pushing yourself beyond
Yeah. Get on
those comfort zones.
That's where the rose happens.
Embrace the discomfort. Stay
Yeah.
hard.
Stay hard.
Remember, you are stronger than you think.
You have so much potential.
You have more potential than you realize.
Absolutely.
And with the right mindset
Yeah.
and a willingness to put in the work,
The work is key.
you can achieve anything you set your mind to.
You are capable of anything.
So what's one small step you can take today to start
Yeah.
applying these principles to your own life?
What's one thing you can do right now?
Yeah, what's one area where you've been holding yourself back?
It's time to take action.
Yeah, it's time to stop talking about it and start taking
You
action.
have to.
And remember, this is your journey.
Yeah, it's your life.
Embrace the challenge.
Embrace the process.
Embrace the discomfort.
Embrace the discomfort.
And most importantly, embrace the potential that lies within you.
You have greatness inside you.
That's it for this deep dive into the world of David Goggins.
Hope you enjoyed it.
We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
Yeah, a little bit motivating.
Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and keep pushing.
See you next time.